In this video, you'll learn how to set up a fixed lump sum prime contract. You'll recall that in the last lesson, we used the Add Project wizard, and the first 8 steps of that wizard involved setting up just the project. Had we continued on to step 9, that would have taken us into setting up a prime contract, and the steps we'll go through now are exactly the same as the ones you would have seen starting at step 9. From Project Home, go to Contract Administration and click the Start Now button, which takes us right into the wizard. In step 1, identify the client company and contact. In step 2, indicate the source of the cost codes. I'll select Import from an Excel spreadsheet. In step 3, notice that the contract type defaults to fixed lump sum, but this is where you select from the 4 available contract types. Also, notice that a 3-digit number is automatically assigned. You can configure how contracts are numbered in settings, and at the end of this lesson I'll show you exactly how to do that. I'm going to change the status to Approved. Note that Project Financial and Analytic reports only include prime contracts with approved status, not pending. Compare the contract issue date and the status date. The status date cannot be earlier than the issue date, but the approved status date does need to be earlier than the date on any transactions for the job. In other words, you can't create transactions related to a contract until it's been approved. Step 4 is where you select the Import spreadsheet. Notice this checkbox, Create Cost and Revenue Items with non-zero subtotals only. If the spreadsheet has $0 cost codes, you can clear this checkbox to include those cost codes in the contract. You would just need to come back in later and add amounts to those cost codes in order to be able to invoice against them. Click Finish, and that's all the information you need for the prime contract. Once the prime contract is set up, you can open the prime contract overview page. Notice the gauge in the top right of the page. This will indicate the percentage of the dollar amount that has been invoiced compared to the prime contract total, including any changes. There are a couple of areas you'll want to establish for each contract that aren't handled by the Contract Setup wizard. The first is your default markups for change proposal requests, CPRs, and change orders, COs. Fixed lump sum contracts don't include markup in the original contract, because the fixed price is the total price the owner has agreed to pay. However, any change requests and the change orders that come from them could require fees or markups. Scroll down in the contract and click View Default Markups, CPRs and COs. This is where you'll set up any markups that will apply by default to CPRs and change orders, so I'll click Add and enter the information. The order number determines the order in which markups are calculated. For example, if you apply a profit markup first and a sales tax second, and you select Include Previous for the sales tax will be calculated on the total change order quantity including your profit. The markup type lets you indicate whether this is a percentage markup, a lump sum markup, or a margin markup. Percentage and margin markups are both based on a percentage, but the calculation is slightly different. A percentage markup means the percentage you enter will be tacked onto the total cost, so a $100,000 change order with a 10% markup will be $110,000. A margin markup means that the markup amount will be 10% of the total, so the calculation is the total for the change order divided by 1 minus the margin percentage. For a $100,000 change order with 10% margin, the total is $111,111. The help topic for markups explains the difference in the calculations. You can always change the markups on specific CPRs and change orders. But if you have standard markups that apply to most changes, it's useful to set them up here. A job cost code is required for each markup item. And don't worry, we'll talk about CPRs and change orders in detail in an upcoming lesson. From this prime contract overview page, click Edit to add more information. You'll want to enter information for the areas that aren't handled by the wizard. Note that you can change the prime contract status, and this is important because prime invoices and procurement transactions can only be entered for approved prime contracts. You can enter a prime contract address if it's different from the project owner's billing address. And you can import scopes of work if you've set up scope templates in settings. Click Import, and then select the scope template. Click Import again, and you can check to see that all 4 areas have been filled in with the template. You can also fill in estimated start and finish dates and retainage percentages. Once the prime contract is ready, you have several options for exporting, linking, and emailing it. Go to Reports, Prime Contract Details. You can format the report to show item details, or show them summarized by job cost codes, internal division codes from the master list, or owner cost codes. We'll use the default template for this example, but you can upload customized report templates and settings to use here. I'll explain more about that in the video on prime contract settings. Notice that you have several export options. You can save this as a doc or PDF file. You can save it as a linked file. Or you can email it as an attachment if you want to send it to the project owner from here. I'll save the PDF as a linked file, so you can see how that looks. When the report is created, scroll to the linked files area, and you'll see the document. Let's rename it so we know which file this is. Just click the link to open the details, and enter the new name. The Actions button for the file lets you download, view, unlink, or delete the file. Let's view it. The report shows the complete contract with item details at the end. And again, you can customize your report formats and upload them in settings to be available here. Now we can send the report to the owner. Click Reports, Prime Contract Details, and this time, we'll select Summed by Owner Code. For the export option, I'll select Email PDF, and that gives me another drop-down to select the email template. Just as with customized reports, you can upload customized email templates, but we'll use the default for now. Click OK, and this opens the Email Prime Contract window. You can modify the recipients and CC lists, verify that the contract will be attached, and scroll down to see the email that will be sent. Click Send Email. When the email is sent, scroll down in the Prime Contract window to see it recorded in the Sent Emails area. In this video, you learned how to create a fixed lump sum prime contract.